Thank you, Chairman Luckmeyer. I want to thank our witnesses for being with us today. The conflicts around the world increase the demand of U.S. weapons from our allies, and that demand has also overstretched our weapon-making capabilities that was revealed the fragility of our domestic industrial base. For example, according to one report, there's just one factory in the United States that can manufacture the black powder for one of the shells most widely used by the Ukrainian military. And our shipbuilding capability has also diminished in the last few decades. According to a U.S. Naval Institute report, we have seen shipyards that build warships for the Navy, while the CCP operates more than 20 shipyards to support their naval shipbuilding. Mr. Zackheim or Mr. Daner, you can both answer this question. Do you believe that DPA can be utilized as a tool to encourage more competition? And if so, are there any changes that could be made to do so?
I'll start and then turn it over to Dr. Nadahner, and thank you for the question. I think with the allocation of the DPA, those making the awards, as Dr. Nadahner oversaw in his time in the Pentagon, need to make sure that the projects not only ensure that the capital is going there and it's going to increase capacity, but we're also looking to use the DPA against key areas like permitting, as was referenced before, and workforce programs to help make sure that if the capital goes in, the project can actually be executed based on these other things. And Dr. Nadahner has referenced how we are way behind in terms of the permitting. But I do think that the DPA, because of its unique authorities, we will see the funding go up in the future and scale to address some of the strategic problems that you've just identified.
Thank
you. This committee has a weighty responsibility to create the framework that other committees will then have the option, and then the full Congress, of implementing. I would note that with whether it is the more traditional heavy big systems or the new systems like artificially intelligent drones and swarms, the percentage of Chinese parts and components in these systems, it's unforgivable. And if there's a trade cessation, I'm not even talking about conflict, just let's say there's a trade interruption, all these factory lines that produce these drones are going to stop because they have anywhere sometimes from 10 to 40% essential Chinese components in our systems.
Thank you. You know, in Executive Order 14110, the Biden administration compels private industry to provide information on its development of artificial intelligence products. That order makes a seemingly novel use of DPA's Title 7, a compulsory information gathering authority applied to an industry that has not otherwise been subject to DPA actions under either Title I or Title III. Has the DPA been used this way before, and if so, how often has it been used? Who wants to answer that?
I can give it a shot, Congresswoman. So Title VII has been used historically to inform what are often referred to as industrial base assessments, which have been conducted under the aegis of the Department of Commerce. You are correct that, to my knowledge at least, artificial intelligence has not been the subject of the application of those authorities. So, you know, this does raise a question as to which areas Congress believes to be the most appropriate for the application of DPA authorities.
There's a modernization issue in terms of how the DPA will operate in Title VII. So Title VII operates, it's basically the government is issuing a survey for how something goes. That's a very old way of doing things. Today, in the commercial sector, people sit in front of a laptop and they do a few keystrokes and they can find out all the capabilities in the supply chains, whether it's artificial intelligence, software, or the hardware. They can do that all instantaneously. And Congress has provided for that through the commercial preference rule. So I think that an updated DPA would be wise to reinforce with the executive branch its disregard of the commercial preference rule, which Congress has thought about and has made part of the law.
Thank you. One last question. Mr. Zuckheim, can you explain the importance of surge capacity regarding the United States defense industrial base?
I mean, as we've seen from the war in Ukraine, and I know we're over time here, I'll be quick, we are not able to surge. Production lines have been made to be just in time. And what we've seen, that may work for the Walmarts of the world, but for national defense, just in time means just out of time. We can't realize our national defense objectives.